So the tier 5 Super Maelstrom Tack recently got absolutely destroyed. Now let's see if this is still a good tower. So if you've been following the development of this tower, you've probably realized by now that this is a tower that actually has been getting changed a lot recently. And this is a tower that NinjaQ kind of wants us to force I don't know, to like make a choice, and then those choices with the crosspaths, where you go for the top or the bottom one, actually have a huge impact on what the tower does. And that's why I wanted to talk about the changes happening in update 43. So let's just start off with these guys. So the first change that we're seeing with this tower is that the blade maelstrom damage got increased from 1 to 2. Now what that means is, well, first off, the blade maelstrom is the 4th tier, and actually getting some extra damage. We're gonna deal with the count, by the way. That's gonna be a single. Yes, there we go. And so what happens with this one extra damage change is that the blade maelstrom is just a stronger tower by itself while the ability is inactive. I think that's what NinjaQ was trying to go for, which is really nice. But the changes that are going to be the most impactful are going to be the pierce reduction. So the blade maelstrom's pierce got reduced from 200 to 100. So now this thing, that means that the ability is just not going through a lot of bloons at once. And then the pierce got reduced in the tier 5 Super Maelstrom as well, where it went from 500 to 300. So this is what I'm talking about. NinjaQ is forcing you to make a choice, and here is what our two choices are. So if you go for the top crosspath onto the blade and the Super Maelstrom, what you get is, well, first off, you get an improved attack. So as you guys can see, this tower right here in the middle, it is attacking a little bit faster. It is shooting the blades a little bit faster, and that is good for us. That's good because it gives you consistency, and what it does for the ability is it makes the blades shoot out a lot faster, and so the damage gets done in a shorter interval of time. So that's good. But if you go for the bottom crosspath, what happens is the ability duration gets extended. It goes from 9 to 12 seconds, and then you get all of this extra pierce back. Now, a little bit of a side note, you guys might have noticed that we're playing shoots, and this is, well, first off, this is not one of my favorite maps. I just want to say that first, but we're playing this map for a very specific reason, because one extra thing that the bottom crosspath does is that it changes the direction of the blades, and this is really important to be able to change the direction of the blades. The way that you want to optimize this tower is you want to have the blades go into the bloons. That's how they do the most amount of damage, and so we're playing on choose, which means that we need to choose a side. So either they're gonna go from right to left, or they're gonna go from left to right, because these bloons are coming out from both sides. And so I made the choice for the top crosspath, and if I'm correct, we're gonna be going essentially counterclockwise, right? Or is it gonna be clockwise? Don't quote me on that. I think it's gonna be counterclockwise, so we should be doing more damage to the left side than the right one. This also means that we're gonna be testing this huge pierce reduction that the tower got, which means that yes, we're gonna have, you know, these abilities that are gonna be a little bit stronger, but the pierce on them is going to be, I think it's gonna be abysmal. But let's actually wait and see how it does in the game. And let me actually get the blade maelstrom right now, and let me just check the direction before I see, because I feel like, oh no, we're gonna be defending the right side. Okay, that's a little bit better, by the way, because this right side is gonna have all these, you know, rounds like 96, 98, and then the battle round 100. I'm not actually sad about that, but we are gonna be super weak on the DDT rounds actually. So 95 and 99, we're gonna be super weak on those. So this is gonna get interesting. Okay, let's see if we're defending this one first. A lot of lead bloons, and we're not actually. Okay, so let's go like this. Let me get the AMD just to buff this guy a little bit. So Pat can pop lead bloons, but the problem with Pat is he's kind of, you know, he's on the right side. So yeah, we need a little bit extra. I should probably use it, but you know what? Let me just use the ability. Let's kind of deal with these guys. This ability is, it's not the fastest cooldown, but honestly, it's not even the slowest. So I don't mind using it like this. There we go. And now look at this. Because Pat is on the right side, he is actually having a better time dealing with the lead bloons on this round. So he doesn't care. So yeah, this is the trade-off that we're gonna have, not only with Pat Fusty, but with the ability as well. And this is the exact reason why I wanted to play shoots. So we are dealing with the zebras, it seems like, but are we gonna be dealing with the rainbows? And I you know what? I don't think that we are actually. I think there's way too much HP onto these rainbows. Oh, we're slow. So if the buff gets thrown correctly, we are somewhat dealing with the rainbow. This is actually the +2 damage. Actually, it went from +1 to +2 damage on the blade maelstrom. He actually defended. Okay, so this was my third attempt on this round, so that's why I was kind of skeptical if we were gonna defend. But you know what? Good that we did. Okay, so let's use the ability. Let's get the blade maelstrom. And so this is one of the benefits. So the ability just gets thrown a lot faster. That's a lot of damage in one spot, and that's why that mob just disappeared. Okay, so let's get this setup going first. Let me just give this thing, first off, I want to give it camo texture so we're not relying on these side towers. So let me just give it the radar scanner into the jungle jumps for the extra attack speed. Let's actually see it versus fortified strat. I feel like Pat Fusty is gonna help a lot versus these, yeah, because he's knocking them back. He's stunning them for a small amount of time. So I feel like Pat Fusty is doing a lot of work, but maybe on 47 versus these ceramics. So I did did buy the 420 Alchemist, and look at this guy. So these balloons are getting past the attack, and they're getting past, yes, exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, that sniper sniped the last red balloon, but come on, this thing is, the +1 damage that they got is absolutely insignificant, I don't think, because you're not buying this thing as a defensive tower, right? So if I want to have a tower that's going to be attack, and I want to have attack in this spot right here that's just going to defend by itself, I'm going to go for the ball path. I'm going to buy an overdrive into attack zone and not worry about anything. So yeah, we're going to have some Moab class balloons incoming in the 50s. And so what I want to do is I want to get the blade, the Super Maelstrom actually as soon as possible. So that's going to be our next goal. Let me just use this ability. Oh my god, we're going to have some issues with Pat, huh? No, because he knocked it back out of the ability. I mean, he did catch those guys, but this might get a little bit problematic, because if we use the ability and Pat Fussy knocks some Moab, that's going to be interesting. If you know. Oh my god, it happened again while I'm talking about it. Just stop knocking these balloons. Are we gonna lose thanks to that? We actually lost because of it. You know what? Let's let him do one knockback, and let's use the ability now. So let's use both of the abilities actually, and there we go. Okay, so we do have the money for the Super Maelstrom, so let me buy this thing right now, and now we do not care about this thing. So we finally got the tier 5, and so here is the trade-off. We got a little bit of a shorter of an ability, so this thing lasts 9 seconds, and the cooldown is 20 seconds if I remember correctly. We can get that cooldown a little bit lower if we buy the primary mentoring, which I'm actually gonna do. Okay, so BFV, the BFV is gonna get defeated. My problem is how long is the ability gonna last on the next round, because the balloons are coming out from the left side, and so that's our weaker side, and it's gonna be a bunch of Moab class balloons. Now we do have the primary mentoring, so the cooldowns are like 10% faster, which should help out a little bit, but we're gonna need the ability right now. Let's use it. And is this gonna be enough? I really fear for 62, guys, because it's gonna have fortified Moabs on this one. So let me get going with these slowdown towers. So first off, where do we want to have? I want to have a glue, but let me just, I want to have it in the range of the village, but not in the range of the alchemist. So let me just have the glue like, this is super far, but I think we should have it like this. Let's just go like this, get the relentless glue. Now this with the path knockback, this is gonna be, yeah, this is so much better, because now I can just, I think we can just freely use the abilities, right? And once we have this tower, we can also get the balloon impact. And I also mentioned this tower and not the ice, because the tack cannot pop frozen balloons. You can actually, it can actually pop frozen balloons with monkey knowledge on, because there's a monkey knowledge point that allows them to do that, but you cannot do it in chimps mode. So yeah, this is gonna be actually a problem because I didn't save the ability, by the way. Oops. Okay, so here's what we can do. Maybe we can buy a small blade maelstrom, and I'm actually gonna get the more attacks and the even more attacks. So this is gonna make the small ability go onto the left side. So let's see if I can time it like this. Yes, I think, yes, that was perfect. Okay, so this guy cannot pop lead balloons, so he's actually suffering versus these small lead balloons, but we did get the Super Maelstrom ability back, and so now if we do it like this, there we go. That's not the solution that we were looking for, but this is actually going to get a little bit cool, because now we have an ability for each side. I'm going to use the small one now. Alright, so we had this tower on screen for like, what, 25 rounds or something like that, and so what I've been noticing so far is that this pierce reduction that I got on the Super Maelstrom from 500 to 300 is actually not noticeable. It doesn't matter so far, but keep in mind, we have still not reached free play, so maybe in free play when you have a bunch of balloons on screen, it's going to start getting noticeable. I think that's the point of this thing, but so far it doesn't exactly matter. And if you guys, you know, have been using this tower, it's one of your favorite ones, then don't worry, because it's not gonna, it's not changing, at least not until free play. But let's see how it does in free play. But let's actually buff it properly, by the way, before we get to free play. So let's go like this. Let's get the overclock engine. The overclock does in fact work once you give it to the ability, so the ability becomes even that much stronger. And as we're walking into free play, we're gonna get the very important level on Bad Fussy. So it's level 13, and so his attack is now gonna be able to stun Moab class balloons for a very short amount of time. And this is just what we're looking for. So we're looking for stuns and slows through the Moab glue, the relentless glue, and then the blue impact. And now Pat Fussy is gonna help out a little bit as well. So let's do the overclock actually onto the ability. So I'm gonna use the overclock now. I'm gonna wait for the ZMG to come a little bit more into the range, and let's use the ability now. And look at this thing. This is mesmerizing, guys. It looks very cool, but it also does a lot of damage. I forgot to use past level 3 ability, by the way, but you know what? That's just even more damage that we're gonna have for the upcoming rounds. Okay, so a bunch of Moabs. We should be able to see what's happening. Let's not overclock actually. Let's just use the ability like this and see if we have enough damage. And it seems like yes, we absolutely do. So we wipe the mobs. The mobs are not even an issue, even though these are a little bit rammed up because it's only around 83. But yeah, it should get interesting in the 90s. I feel like are gonna be the biggest challenge for us. So let me just show you guys the difference it makes between having and not having any support towers. So for example, we have 4 ZMGs around 87, and I'm just gonna use the Super Maelstrom ability without using anything else. So it's just a Super Maelstrom ability, and it's actually gonna gonna leak, and it's not even gonna be close because we're straight up leaking mobs and BFBs. Okay, so this time let's do the exact same thing, but let's buff it up. So I'm gonna overclock it, and I'm gonna use Patrolling Roar, and now let's use the ability, and look at this thing. Oh my, it's gonna wipe out everything. Oh, that's so much damage. It looks so cool. And we even saved the Call to Arms ability, which is really, well, I kind of wanted to save it on purpose because we might need it for this next round. But this is exactly what I'm talking about. It is a good tower by itself, but it needs a lot of support. And so once you have the support going for it, this is just going to be a different story. And I feel like the 90s are going to be so much fun, actually. I can't even wait for the rounds like 98 and maybe even around 100. We're going to pop the bat only with one ability. So more fortified balloons. I'm going to do the same thing. So we're going to overclock, use Pat's ability. Let's just, I just look at this thing. It looks so good, but wait, did I mess it up because we're gonna have DDTs? No, it's back off cooldown. Okay, so let's see how we do for DDTs. This is gonna be really important. The ability is out, and it is popping it, but that was only 3 DDTs, and actually the last DDT popped near the glue. So I'm not exactly sure how we're gonna be dealing versus rounds like 95 because they're gonna be coming out from the left side, and the left side is our weaker one. However, a huge chunk of BFBs. So let's do the thing. Let's overclock. Let's use Pat's level 3 ability, and let's wipe all of these guys. And you know what? This is actually not even funny versus non-fortified balloons. The fortifieds are actually very annoying. I'm gonna be honest, but these other ones, they just evaporate once you click the button. So let's just, I mean, we have some fortifieds, but the overclock is still going, I can see. So let's just see how we're gonna do versus these guys. We're definitely defending them, but we need a little bit of, you know, support while the ability is off cooldown, and that's exactly what Pat and the glue is doing. And look at this thing. So they bought just enough time, and we get the ability back, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. I love playing like this. Okay, so let's use the overclock, let's use the level 3 ability, but let's not use the call to arms because we're gonna have DDTs coming out from the left side around 93. So there we go, we dealt with the UMGs, and I really hope that we get some, so we get the ability back. But are we gonna have any of the other abilities? No. Okay, so let's use the call to arms, and let's use the Super Maelstrom again, and that was a very good idea to save the call to arms, by the way. And now for these fortified balloons, let's overclock so we get all these abilities back, and I'm just gonna dump all of them because round 94 is gonna have just a bunch of BFBs and UMGs. Those guys are slow. It's gonna take a while until they come, you know, next to us. I'm gonna use the small one. You can't even see the small one. It is barely doing anything. It is just like the little brother trying to be relevant, something like that. But you know what? It's helping out. How much damage? It has 60,000. I mean, it's not even bad. The big bro has like 600,000, so it's 10, 11 times actually as much. But it doesn't matter. It's still doing something, I guess. Okay, so we're gonna need at least 2 rounds of abilities versus this round. So let's go like this. Let's use the level 3 ability. So overclock level 3 path ability. Let's use the first Super Maelstrom. And so after these guys are done, I hope I get all the BFBs in one ability because I want to have another ability for the UMGs. So let's wait for these guys to get kind of set up and clumped up in one spot, and then let's use the call to arms, and then let's use the okay, so this might be a little bit of a mistake because it's 95 on the next one, but as long as we defeat this round, I'm gonna be happy. So we didn't get the entire thing. Wait a minute, are we gonna get a third ability on this one? I really hope we do. I'm spamming the button. The ability is out. It is a non-buffed ability, so it's just like the basic Super Maelstrom, but it seems to be enough versus this round. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so very important how we do versus 95 and all these DDTs. So I'm just gonna use the ability without using any of these supporting ones. And so here's what I know. I know for a fact that this thing is just not gonna last through the entire ability. So here's what I'm gonna do. As soon as this ability ends, I'm going to use the cold arm, and I'm going to no, this is just not going to work out. Okay, so let's try and fix this round by doing this, by buying the absolute zero. So I got a 250 absolute zero, and so the idea with this one is that it is supposed to freeze the DDTs in place while there's downtime on the cooldown. And so what we're missing on this round is we're not missing damage. I'm still going to overclock and use the ability, by the way, but we're not missing damage. We're missing uptime on the ability because this round 95 lasts for a very long time. So as soon as the ability ends, I'm actually going to use the absolute zero, and I hope that that buys us enough time. So right now, so freeze the DDTs, keep them in place. The new ones are actually coming out. I'm going to use the call to arms, and I see that I'm spamming the button, and yes, we got it. So these guys should unfreeze, and there we go. That was absolutely perfect. That was absolute zero for absolutely perfect gaming. Yeah, there we go. Honestly, nothing too interesting happening around 96 because it's a bunch of well, we did have some fortified mobs, but it's just mobs. It's not a problem. So let's use all the abilities. Well, not all, but let's use the overclock, Pat's Roar, and then the Super Maelstrom for the UMGs, which are just gonna disappear in a second. So here we go. We have the big boy rounds. If we beat these three, we just win the game outright. So this is gonna be the most challenging rounds out of all of them. So let's dump everything onto these ones, but let's also be careful not to use too many abilities abilities because we're gonna need them. So I'm gonna start with the overclock with Pat's Roar and then the Super Maelstrom, just like we've been doing so far. But honestly, you know, the way this round is going out, you have some BFBs, but you have the ZMGs right behind them, and that is not what happened around 96. On 96, the ZMGs are far back. So yeah, let me, you know what, I think we should use the call to arms actually, and we should use the Super Maelstrom because we need some extra damage. And I feel like that was a really nice combination because that's the entirety of this round. I should probably not take this actually because the Super Maelstrom is going to be on cooldown. We have fortified DDTs in the next round, right? Nah, you know what, it's actually going to come off cooldown. There we go. We don't have some other abilities, but you know what, we can freeze them with the ice because we have an absolute zero. Let's use the ability like this. Let's use Pat's Roar, and I'm a little bit late with all the other ones. Let's use the small brother ability as well. Is this gonna last? It's barely enough. I feel like it's 1 DDT left. Oh, I'm not gonna lose to 1, am I? No, we take care of it. That's very good. Okay, that's amazing. Oh my god, that was so close. I mean, it was just a small timing with the Pat. If you guys saw the Pat's Roar ability, it barely came off cooldown in the overclock as well. So we were this close to throwing the run because, I mean, we could have bought something, but come on, it would not have been fair. Okay, this is it, the final round. We need to do tens of thousands of damage in a few seconds, so let's see if we can make that happen. Let's go all out. So overclock, a call to arms, Pat's Rallying Roar, and then I'm going to use the big one. I'm going to use the small ability as well. It's not going to do anything, but let's see if we have enough damage for this thing. And honestly, I don't even want to buy extra damage. I want to buy some damage amplifier. So this is not going to be enough. Yeah, we're missing a lot of damage actually. Let's try it like this. I bought the Glue Storm and I bought the Embrittlement Ice. So that's going to be a very small amount of extra damage, but maybe it's going to make a difference. I don't know. Let's use the Glue Storm. Let's use the Call to Arms, Pat's Roar, and now I'm going to use both abilities right now. Let's see if this is going to make any difference. It is a little bit of extra damage for sure, but is it going to be enough? It's definitely more than last time and you can barely see anything. Oh my god, it actually popped. What? The ability stopped, but we are actually doing some damage. I can see the big Maelstrom incoming. Can I stop those guys at the back? I don't think so. No, right? Okay, round 2. I feel like we actually have this thing. So let's do the same thing. Let's overclock. Let's use all of these abilities at the same time. Let's Pat's Roar, and I'm going to use these abilities a little bit earlier. And I'm actually going to use Pat's level 10 ability once this thing pops, and I'm going to use the absolute zero. So let's try and keep all these guys in place. So let's freeze them. Let's grab one of the UMGs and pop it, and then I do have the small ability as well. Let's use the small. Let's just dump everything into him. Let's use the small ability. Let's use the big one now, and I really hope that this is gonna be enough. Please tell me it is. It's so close at the end. No, I see one ceramic. Are we gonna be able to stop it? How do we want to pop the last ceramic? Maybe like a single druid, and yes, a 030 druid to say. Oh my god, you guys see this at the back? It's holding it with the vine, but yes, there we go. We actually defended it. But all in all, I feel like this Pierce reduction is not that impactful onto this tower. I was not able to feel it, and I feel like once you have all of these, you know, support towers, they're just keeping the balloons in place, they're buying you time for the ability, and you know, once you dish out this ability with the top crosspath, it just does the damage so quickly that this latest Pierce reduction is probably going to be insignificant. So yeah, the Super Maelstrom is just fine, and that's gonna be it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'm gonna see you all in the next one.